Hey y'all, it's Heel Heat time.
Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles and this is our WWE show for the week. Let's start off with the so-so segments. Basically the stuff wasn't good, wasn't bad, just was there. We'll start off with the beginning segment. Triple H and Stephanie McMahon come out to the ring, followed by the new 15-time world champion, John Cena. Now, it is what it is, folks. He comes out to the ring. They announce he's on the cover of WWE 2K15. They try to work out, say, if you work with us, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. He picks the hard way. They inform him he's going to be the Fatal 4-Way at the next pay-per-view Battleground with him versus Kane, Randy Orton, and Roman Reigns. And if he doesn't like that, they got a plan B, which brings out Seth Rollins with the Money in the Bank case. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. I'm sick and tired of these opening segments with the Authority or GM or whatever. They just don't do anything for me. I'm tired, it's passe, it's easy booking. That being said, we move on to our next match. A match that Stephanie McMahon set up. Nikki and Brie Bella versus the Funkadactyls, but since Brie Bella's not there, Nikki has to wrestle them alone. We see more teasing of the Funkadactyls splitting. They do pick up the win over Nikki Bella. I don't know, it was silly to me. I guess, it wasn't a horrible match. I just don't get why the Funkadactyls, who are technically a face act, still would be doing the bidding of the Authority. Would have been better to put heels against Nikki. That's what the problem I have with it. And last but not least, Cesaro versus Kofi. Now don't get me wrong. The in-ring stuff that we did see was great. The problem I have with it is the match ended during commercial break, and the only way to see the finish was to have switched over to your WWE app, which, I don't know about you, I haven't opened it other than to watch the WWE Network on my phone in months. I don't open it for syncing with Raw. I don't open it syncing with SmackDown. I really don't care about the little segments they do on there. If they're important, guess what? They'll show them on the show. To me, they kind of shot themselves in the foot on this, and it's the anything could happen in the WWE motif. I understand that, but I don't care. There's more people watching Monday Night Raw than downloading your stupid app. And I understand you want them to download your stupid app. But reality is there's some people that A, may not be able to afford it, B, don't have cell phones that watch Monday Night Raw, or C, much like myself, use the time on the bathroom breaks or the commercial breaks to use the bathroom, get a new refresh in my drink, whether it be water, soda, beer, whatever you drink, maybe get a snack. Yeah, maybe you have to go to your laundry room and get some clean, maybe you did laundry. Point of the matter is, commercial breaks are usually the time you can step away from your TV. We don't need to be dragged somewhere else. After that, though, we did get to see Cesaro beat Kofi down, which is why I made it into the so-so segment, because there was stuff that was good about it and stuff I just didn't like, so it kind of evened out. Then we cut to the back scene where we see Santino celebrating the rosebuds with Twisted Tea, which is an alcoholic beverage. Kind of funny that they're a PG show and you got your wrestlers drinking alcoholic beverages. I digress. Just felt out of place to me. Now we're going to go into the bad segments of the night. Now, unfortunately, there was only one really bad segment, and that was McMandow, a.k.a. Damien Sandow, doing a a pretty good impersonation of Vince McMahon, and wrestling against the great Khali, which ended up being Khali chopping him on the head and him losing. I've said it. I don't know how many weeks in a row I'm going to say this. I hope you guys are not tired of me saying this, but I'm so frustrated as a fan with what they're doing with Damian Sandow. I think he's so much a better talent than what they give me. Let him be. And all you people that are out there that say they complain about Ziggler not being pushed, or whoever the flavor of the month is, this really is disappointing, because at least Ziggler's been able to get the World Championship on a few occasions. Sandow should be a future World Champion. He's being treated like a future Coco Beware. But, I don't know. I'm not the one that does the booking, so maybe there's an ends to the means on this. But coming off of that, we're going to go back into some positive territory. Our question of the week. I don't know why I said it like that. But we actually got pretty good answers this week. We got our question of the week. What was your favorite Eddie Guerrero moments? Now, before I get to mine, I'm going to read some of yours. First is from our good friend Dizzle Pup. I personally loved his cruiserweight work in WCW. His match with Ray at Halloween Havoc 97 is outrageously good, and it's my favorite Eddie match. It's 100% the whole time, and it shows how shitty big player NWO matches were at the time. His match at Fall Brawl with Jericho that same year was great too. With Benoit, Guerrero, Mysterio, Jericho, etc., WCW could have had the winning of the Monday Night Wars right there. I totally agree. They didn't give the Cruiserweight division as much respect as it deserved, and really, for a lot of us wrestling fans, that's why we turned into Nitro. We didn't want to see Hulk Hogan wrestle, even though I'm wearing a Hulk Hogan shirt. By the way, if you didn't see my unboxing, I got this as a surprise, unknown gift from TNA, so bear with me. We didn't want to see Hulk Hogan wrestle. We didn't want to see any of the old fossils. We didn't want to see the NWO gang beat down at the end of every show. We wanted to see the Cruiserweights. We wanted to see Mysterio, Guerrero, Malenko, Ultimate Dragon, Juventud Guerrera. Even the jobbers of the Cruiserweights were still infinitely more interesting. Laparca, Silver King, El Dandy, It's like Cycloplay, Halloween. There were so much great wrestlers at that time. But I digress. This is a different story for a different day. Next is our friend Infinite Skittles. My favorite Eddie Guerrero memory is No Mercy in 2005, his last ever pay-per-view match versus Batista. It was the first WWE DVD I ever got, and that match I remember loving it. The other would be the Texas Bull Rope match between him and JBL. It's such a good match. I agree. One of the bloodiest matches of all time. It was just amazing. I thought Eddie and JBL worked very well together. Next up from our friend Yellow Lion 3250. My favorite Eddie moment was his feud with Rey Mysterio. Eddie went into a deep, cold-hearted heel, even to the point where he told Dominic that he wasn't Rey's son, which to this day, any child would be crushed and heartbroken. Totally agree. I thought that was kind of cool as well. Really, realistically, folks, as we're going down here and we're seeing all these different answers, there's no wrong answer what your favorite Eddie Guerrero moment is. Everything the guy did was pretty much amazing. But I go back to our answer so we could get this out there. Next is from @AUP116 from Twitter. Probably the Eddie Guerrero versus Rob Van Dam ladder match on Raw for the IC title, or the beginning of the Filthy Animals. Very solid, both great things to do. I enjoyed Eddie. I enjoyed his role in the Filthy Animals. The ladder match is one of those hidden gems that have been on Monday Night Raw over the years. But a good match all the way through. Next up's from our friend Benjamin Me. Hey Heel Heat, for this week's question of the week, my favorite memory of Eddie was when he was auctioning Kurt Angle's stuff. His face was so funny when he saw the medals in the box and pulled them out. Eddie was so funny and amazing talent. As well as this, as controversial as it might be, I love the moment at WrestleMania 20 with Benoit. I wish I got the chance to see Ed Lee live, but sadly I never did. And if you heard that door in the background, that was my brother Frank coming in. He's afraid to walk behind the camera because he's afraid to make noise and knock stuff down. But go ahead, Frankie. He's walked on through, guys. You've seen him before. He's been on a couple of my shows. Last but not least, our friend Josh Adams. Favorite Eddie moment is actually two moments. First is the sold out versus 6 in a ladder match. Again, Eddie was kind of a ladder match specialist. Also, when he won the WWE Championship, I felt like, wow, that just happened right there, LOL. It was a moment where the people had lifted their jaws off the floor. Eddie was one of the 2 or 3 greatest wrestlers ever. I would say Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels, and Eddie, in my opinion, are the 3 greatest wrestlers. Now I'm going to give you guys my opinion. Much like these guys, I had trouble picking just one moment, so I'm going to give actually 4, but 2. You'll get it in a second. I think my favorite is the WrestleMania 20 moment. I loved Eddie Guerrero, loved Chris Benoit, loved them from their WCW and ECW days. Great guys, great wrestlers. The moment at the end of WrestleMania 20 should be one of those things that lives on forever and is played on every single highlight reel that WWE puts out, because it was just that great of a moment with the 2 best friends standing triumphantly in the ring. Unfortunately, Benoit did what Benoit did, and he no longer exists in the WWE. But it was a great moment, and it was both of their moment, not just Benoit. So maybe at some point, when the feelings aren't so raw, they'll go back and acknowledge it. My second would be, it's called the Eddie Guerrero Dean Malenko Classic, Guerrero Malenko Classic from ECW. It's a set of 3 matches. Eddie won one, Dean won the other, Don won the second, and they went to a draw on the third. 3 matches over 3 nights. If you go to rfvideo.com, you can order the DVD with all 3 matches plus other matches they wrestled each other in. But absolutely, positively, 3 of the greatest wrestling matches you will ever see. I will put this on par with any wrestling trilogy that's ever existed. Ric Flair versus Ricky Steamboat, whatever you want to put it against, those 3 matches are worth you going to RF Video right now and buying that DVD. And I'm not shilling for RF Video. I don't work for them. They don't sponsor me. It's worth it. That's how good they are. For you to go to that site, pick up that DVD. I believe it's anywhere from $10 to $20. I don't even know the price. But great DVD. It's something you should definitely buy if you're a fan of either of the guys or if you're just a fan of wrestling in general. Next up's our question of the week for this week. Which wrestler, either current or in the past, are you ashamed to admit that you like? Let us know what you think. Hit us up on Facebook, hit us up on Twitter, put it down where? Down there in the comments. Now we're going to roll into the good section of the night, the stuff that I actually really like. First up was a match with Seth Rollins and Rob Van Dam. Thought it was a solid match. Rob Van Dam, on this run back, seems to be very, very okay with the fact that he's getting there to put over some newer talent, and he's giving it his all, and he's busting ass out there, and he might not be the Rob Van Dam of '97, but he damn sure is the Rob Van Dam of 2005. Great match, great opener for the opening match on the show. After we see Dean Ambrose cut a promo on the big screen on the Titantron, talking about that he's the TNT anytime Rollins tries to cash in his Money in the Bank. He's going to be there to stop it. So, all in all, just a great segment. Which leads us up to what should have been my favorite segment of the night. It was outdone by one other thing, but man, This was great. We had Rusev in the ring doing his regular Rusev spiel, and out comes the one American that can stand up to him, Jack Swagger, with his manager Zeb Coulter. And Jack Swagger went from someone the crowd could give two shits about to probably one of the biggest face reactions on the show in a millisecond. Everybody loved it. They were eating it up. It was very, very much it's a patriotic thing. He's an American fighting a Russian. But the crowd went apeshit for Jack and Zeb, and I thought it was great. Especially, we've had a couple of heel turns rather recently, so we need to balance it out by putting some guys on the face side again. Jack's picking it up, kind of really reminiscent of Lex Luger going from the narcissist to the All-American when he slammed Yokozuna on the, I believe it was the USS Intrepid all those years ago. It's kind of the vibe I'm getting here. I'll be interested to see where we go from here. Maybe if Jack Swagger stays a face or if it's just more of his gimmick. But what a great segment. Like I said, only one thing outweighed it, and we're about to get to that in a few moments. Next up, we got our six-man tag match. The Uso brothers and Sheamus versus the Wyatt family. Usos and the Wyatts have been going back and forth pretty much for the last 6 months. Sheamus has had some interaction with them. Can't really go wrong with the formula. 6 good wrestlers. I've said it before and I'll say it again with Sheamus. When you put him in the ring with guys that can do that rough and tumble, hard-hitting style, he shines. And all 3 of the Wyatts can do that. So it was a great match. A good showing. Again, anytime you put this combination, it's going to win. The Wyatts pick up the win on this, which leads us into the next thing we like, which happened a few segments later on the show. We're teased a return from a multimedia superstar all night. The Miz comes out. We assume it's him. He even says it's him. But he's interrupted by the returning, surprising Chris Jericho, Y2J, light up jacket and everything, coming back to save us from a boring Miz promo. Y2J does his thing, hits a code breaker, the lights come out, the Wyatt family destroys Y2J. This was a segment to me that beat out Rusev and Swagger. I heard rumblings about Y2J coming, but I didn't really believe him. Him interrupting Miz the way he did was great. Him interacting with the Wyatts is even greater. I think it's... What is there to say? Chris Jericho is one of the real stars in the pro wrestling world. One of the guys that instantly grabs your attention and makes you watch. And nothing but good can come from a Jericho-Wyatt family feud. But moving along, we have our next match of the night, Fandango versus Dolph Ziggler. The match is interrupted by Summer Rae, who starts making out with Ziggler, which seems to make Fandango jealous, which costs him the match when he gets fooled into when Ziggler hits the zigzag. More of the Summer Rae, Layla, Fandango love triangle. Now they're going to mix Ziggler into it. We're probably going to see some mixed tag matches. Maybe they'll start moving Ziggler up the roster, up the rail, up the ladder, and into better positions on the show. After that, we have Curtis Axel and Ryback versus Goldust and Stardust, the Dust Brothers. I enjoy it. Even though this is a match that they've done about 5, 6, 7, 8 times now. They always find a way to make it new and interesting. I think Ryback's really coming into their own as a tag team. Goldust and Stardust. I like it. I really enjoy it. I enjoy Cody Rhodes as Stardust. I think it's cool. I picked them picking up the win. But it was great. I want to see them more move into the title picture now. Maybe take the titles off of the Usos or go up against a different opponent other than Rybackson. Is my opinion. Next up, we have Paige. She came out to the ring to cut a promo. Was sorry about that. Was a surprise when AJ Lee came out, cuts her off, basically goes her into a match, and picks up a win with a small package, winning back the world title that Paige just won off of AJ Lee 3 months ago, and put her into exile where she got married, took a vacation, got pregnant, which we obviously know that's not true, but now we have AJ back, so hopefully, and we also did a double turn. AJ left as a heel, Paige was a face, AJ comes back, turns face while Paige turns heel. So, decent little segment, another great addition to the Divas division, which means all the good wrestlers it can get. Now next up, the main event of the night, Kane and Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns and John Cena. Reigns and Cena pick up the win after Reigns and Orton wrestle out to the back. Kane starts hitting Cena with the steps. It looks like he injured him, which causes Triple H to call for Seth Rollins to come down and cash in. Before he could do so, Dean Ambrose comes out and attacks him, much like he warned him he was going to do early in the show. Brings that storyline full circle, gives us a tease of the cash-in, which the fans were ready for, gives us a preview of the Battlefield match. On all, effective main event that tied a lot of storylines together. So basically, we're going to move into our ratings for the week. Now, if you've seen the show before, or even if you haven't, we have a 1 to 5 scale. 1 is the worst, 5 is the best. 1's a Great Khali, 2 is Santino Marella, 3 is a Stardust, 4 is a Cesaro, 5 is a Daniel Bryan, and on occasions like this, we go into our special area. If a 5 isn't good enough, we have a special rating for that. And we don't like to break it out much. Maybe 2-3 times a year it comes out. This we consider an HBK, Shawn Michaels. It's so good that we can't even rate it on our rating scale. It was just a great episode of Monday Night Raw. Coherent storylines all the way through. Returns of The Miz, returns of Jericho, returns of AJ Lee. Swagger turning face, AJ turning face, Paige turning heel. Ziggler, possibly him and Summer Rae becoming a thing. A lot of stuff to enjoy on the show. Very little I didn't like. Just a great show from start to finish. They came out the box after Money in the Bank, and they came out swinging, and I believe they hit a home run. That's why I'm saying it's a Shawn Michaels, a show so good that we can't even rate it. But basically, that's all I have to say about that. My name is George Coles, and this has been another episode of Heel Heat.